Do you get the argument though about the inflationary impact if wages do go too high too quick? I know I get your argument about the lowest paid, and it's hard to begrudge anyone on the minimum wage an increase. I totally understand what you're saying, but given every dollar is going to be spent, there is still an inflationary or expansionary impact.
I'd say a couple of things. The minimum wage affects 1 in 4 workers, and every year we know what effect that has for the overall wage price index, and that's like a small bump. It's not just because we're asking for 7% in the annual wage review, that doesn't make wages for everyone 7%, first of all. It doesn't lock in future pay increases for others. It doesn't have knock-on effects for others. So any idea that this is going to lead to sort of higher wages across the economy, we know is just not right. And we know that because every year we get to see that that's not the case. So there's not that concern there. The other thing I would say is quite an interesting point that not many people have talked about. And that's the fact that in other countries that have now much lower inflation than us, because it's been falling faster than us, their wage increases that have been way higher. So, for example, both the UK and the US, the average wage increases for the whole of the economy is around 6%, and their inflation has been falling. So I would really question the basics of all of this, and that what is causing inflation. And it's got nothing to do with wages here or overseas. It's really got to do with supply chain issues, and some would say, like us, some maintaining at least of profit margins by companies and passing on those costs entirely to the consumer. So once those things start resolving, inflation starts resolving as well.
Just finally, Sally McManus, let me ask you about the job seeker increase. You and I spoke before the budget. You said there should be an increase. What's your reaction to the size of it?
Yeah, well, the government's made a start, which is a really good thing. And from listening to them, and obviously I sat on that committee too, the Economic Inclusion Committee, and we recommended a much bigger increase. But they say they don't have the money to do that at the moment. We all do know all the pressures they're under. I think that if this is a start, and if there's a setting of that job seeker amount over time to a point where people aren't living in poverty, that's what needs to happen. I say that because, you know, everyone wants people to be able to work, but if you're being paid, you know, such a little amount that it's actually impeding your ability to actually go get a job because you can't even afford the transport, surely that's not in anyone's interest. So we need to lift that so that it's a decent amount that people can survive on.
Secretary of the ACTU, Sally McManus, thanks for your time, as always.